Welcome to a new time. Welcome to a new era.
This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Feel the wrath of the pythons. You shall feel the wrath of Hulkamania. This is where the power lies.
And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family.
I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me and he's not even going to try.
It's time to step into the squared circle and get it done.
Welcome everyone to Legends and Champions, coming to you from the United Kingdom. Andy Evans here, of course, bringing you all of the action from the retro goodness back in the good old days of professional wrestling. This week, Stefan and I are going to be talking all about one of the most iconic women wrestlers of all time. She is a multi-time WWE champion. She is a Hall of Famer, and she just gives you bundles of satisfaction. That's right, we're talking all about Trish Stratus in just a moment. Now, if you would like to be a part of the action here at Celebrate Wrestling, you can do by coming to us on Facebook. All you need to do is search for Celebrate Wrestling, answer a few questions, because that's what Meta tells us we have to do, and Mike will let you in. You will then be a part of this great community talking all about professional wrestling. All of us, from the guys at the ACT, Mitch and Dimitri, Joe, Mike, myself, Stefan, we're all actively involved in the group, and it's some of the best discussions out there at the moment. There has everybody been. Last week, we obviously did the UK Rampage 1992. Hope you all enjoyed that show. This week, Trish Stratus. What would you would like us to hear? What would you, I'll try that again, like us to do on the show going forward? Let us know on social media. Let us know what topics, what pay-per-views, what superstars, what events, what themes that you would like Stefan and I to cover, and we will do what we can to do them. All right, let's do it. Let's go to commercial break. When we come back, Stefan and I will be talking all about the legendary Trish Stratus. We will see you after this.
The alternate commentary table, ACT, brought to you by the Celebrate Wrestling podcast feed. Listen, it's Mitch, it's Dimitri. We got this little pod thing that we do every single week where we talk about the week in wrestling and the way in which we do it from the other side of the railing. Right, Mitch?
I like that.
We're coming at it because we love it. We hate it. The alternate commentary table, ACT. Download it anywhere where you're getting your podcasts.
Sure.
Well, Trish.
Mr. McMahon.
To what do I owe this unexpected pleasure?
Well, I just want to say that I really admired what you did right there tonight, especially what you did to Mick Foley.
Well, thank you.
You know, I love a man who takes charge.
You know something, Trish? That's something that I do real well is take charge.
Well, Mr. McMahon, I just wanted to also wish you good luck in your match tonight.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck in yours, Trish.
They're both pumped.
It's Wednesday. You know what that means. No, it's not Dynamite. It's better than that. It's Legends and Champions. Andy here, of course, with Stefanos. Stefano, how you doing, big man?
I am good. Yeah, it is better than Dynamite, of course. Not trying to slate AEW. Well, AEW at the moment is not very good. That's my only issue. Yeah.
This might be better than Dynamite, but is it better than Collision?
Probably.
Yeah, it's not hard, really, is it? Yes. Anyway, welcome to Legends and Champions, people. Hope everybody is doing well. This is breaking the fourth wall here. This is 24 hours after we recorded the UK Rampage 1992. I'm still in a hotel in Reading, and it's still bloody hot. And Stefan and I are struggling. So this might not be fun, but we're going to do this anyway. This week, we're going to be talking all about the iconic WWE Hall of Famer, the wonderful Trish Stratus. Stefan, you asked to do Trish. What was it? Why is it that you wanted to cover Be Clean, We're a Family Show? Why did you want to cover Trish Stratus on the podcast this week?
Cover Trish Stratus for 1, 2, 3. And the reason I thought, well, you and I, we talk a lot off air about potential projects, like shows that we could do, topics and that, and obviously we want to start getting more of the listeners in the Facebook group involved in what we're going to come up with and cover. And I just thought, it's been a little while since I've rejoined you, but this time as part of LAC. We've not really covered any specific female talent, and I thought, what better way than to go ahead and do a show on that than Trish Stratus, Hall of Famer, one of the most iconic divas in WWE, and and why not? And here we are.
Well, before stepping into the professional wrestling ring, Patricia Strategius, known professionally, that is really easy for me to say, known professionally as Trish Stratus, pursued, I cannot speak. I have my notes and I cannot read them. Academic interests in biology while attending York University. Her path took a turn towards the fitness world, leading to a successful career in fitness modeling, which ultimately aligned her with professional wrestling. Now, her first foray into the world was with the Toronto-based live audio wrestling radio show that aired on various different stations in Canada. I was a big listener of live audio wrestling when it first came out. I can remember listening to Trish on that show. And then she made her debut in 1999 in the World Wrestling Federation, signing a developmental contract with the WWE, then known as the WWF. She was trained by veteran Canadian wrestler Ron Hutchinson at Sully's Gym in Toronto, and she made her debut on an episode of Sunday Night Heat on March the 19th, 2000, playing a heel character under the name of Trish Stratus, scouting Test and Prince Albert. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we got the formation of T and A. Not TNA, TNA. T and A. T.
I think they got it, Andy. Andy. I think they got it.
Test and Albert.
Test and Albert.
Not
the other T and A.
Not something and something.
Yeah,
not total non-stop action.
No.
Not something and something.
Yeah.
Test and Albert.
Nothing upper half and lower half. But Test and Albert. And do you know what? Like, I remember when I first see her, and I was like, okay, didn't really think too much of it. I thought, well, apart from, this is an attractive woman, I wonder where this may go. But because at that time, like Test and Albert, I quite like Test. Albert, was all right. Nothing against Matt Bloom, just the Prince Albert character. Although it was probably better than Lord Tensai in hindsight. So yeah,
there was nothing wrong with Lord Tensai.
To begin with, there was nothing wrong with Lord Tensai. He beat John Cena, for goodness sake. That would put Simon Miller or What Culture would say, that's an up. Putting him over John Cena, okay, good. Quote my friend Simon there.
I would like to have seen Lord Tensai against the Great O'Khan. I mean, that would have been an intriguing match with the Sultan as the special guest referee.
Yeah.
And the Iron Sheik is the MC.
Oh, Iron Sheik as an MC. Just Iron Sheik moving on commentary would have been hilarious. It would have been literally the entire duration of the match of him putting down Hulk Hogan. It
would have been Rocket Ronnie Garvin from SummerSlam '89, wouldn't
it?
Yes.
That was one of the best ever ring announcing skits of all time, in my opinion, was that Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Let's wait until August.
Yeah, when we cover that, I can't wait for that one. So yeah, go back to Trish and TNA. It wasn't really. I didn't take too much notice because obviously I didn't see what the bigger picture was, what they were planning on doing until they got into that rivalry with the Dudley Boys. Yeah. And then obviously there was that promo video of Trish in lingerie, kind of seducing in some ways Bubba Ray with the way she was, with tables and her description of what she loves about tables. Everyone come off it. Literally, if you're in your 30s or your 40s now, you know that promo video I'm talking about and what she said. And it was kind of like, okay, I see what they're going with, and you could start to see more of the persona coming through. And, and that's when I started to think, okay, they're on something here. But did I see her as an in-ring competitor at that point? No, I didn't foresee what the future was going to have for her. I actually thought, she's a valet, she's a manager. That will probably, that's probably all it's likely to be with Trish. And, obviously, she went on managing Val Venus. Yeah, how very wrong we were. She went on to marry Val Venus with that ridiculous, when he changed that ridiculously dance version of his music, which was terrible.
Hang on. Stop. Whoa.
Okay, Flair.
She didn't marry Val Venus. She managed.
I didn't say she married him. I said managed.
You said she went on to marry Val Venus.
Manage Val Venus.
You said marry, but
where
it was managed.
Where it was obviously his Intercontinental Championship reign, which was extremely forgettable at that point. Kind of when Val Venus had kind of sort of gone off from being kind of a fan favourite character into this other. I think it was Right to Censor kind of ruined him, really, didn't it? He ended up in Right to Censor, that kind of just.
But then you see what Sean Morley's become now. You kind of realise that, Anyway, the alliance, as you quite rightly said, ended at SummerSlam 2000 after Venus lost the championship. Stratus then made her official in-ring debut on the June 22nd, 2000 episode of SmackDown, participating in a tag team match where she teamed with Test and Albert to defeat Lita and the Hardy Boys. Now, this really did kind of kick off this storyline feud between Stratus and best friend Lita, with Stratus launching attack on her during episodes of both Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. You notice I didn't call it Tuesday Night SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown, Saturday Night SmackDown, Thursday Night SmackDown. I can't remember what day it was on. The rivalry culminated in an Indian strap match on the July 24th episode of Monday Night Raw, which Stratus won with assistance from Stephanie McMahon. For the remainder of 2000, Stratus unsuccessfully challenged for the World Wrestling Federation Women's Championship on several occasions, and her association with Test and Albert came to an end when the team eventually disbanded. But it was in 2001 that Stratus really got, recognized. And she got recognized because she entered a controversial storyline with then WWE owner and chairman Vince McMahon. The angle played out during a period where Linda was portrayed as being in a catatonic state following Vince's public demand for a divorce. The on-screen relationship between Vince and Stratus infuriated Stephanie, and a scheduled match between Stephanie and Trish on the episode of Raw in February the 19th was cancelled when Stephanie was stunned by Steve Austin. That led to a match at No Way Out, where Stephanie secured a victory after the UK's own William Regal interfered. The following night on Raw, during a tag team match pitting Vince and Stratus against Regal and Stephanie, Stratus was deliberately set up by Vince. Stephanie and Regal executed his finisher, the Regal Cutter, and Stephanie proceeded to dump slop onto her. In a humiliating moment, Vince stood over Stratus declaring her a toy with which he had grown tired of playing. The storyline took an even more controversial turn the following week on Raw, as Vince further humiliated Stratus by forcing her to strip down to her bra and panties in the ring and bark like a dog while crying. The storyline reached its climax at WrestleMania 17 when Stratus slapped Vince during his match against the Son Shane, marking a pivotal face turn. Let's break this down. That's a lot to go through.
Yeah. Can we start with the No Way Out bit? Because I loved the whole where Vince puts William Regal in a very difficult position by saying to him, you know what I want, like, you know who I want to win and all that. And it's just that moment, that segment where Vince walks off and the camera pans to Regal and he's like, no, he's like, how the bloody hell should I know what he wants? And it's that whole, I love that whole thing with Regal where he's really torn. Like, one moment he's going to go and help Trish, then he's going to go and assist Stephanie. He's really torn between the two. And then when he does it, Vince's reaction is, I thought you knew what I wanted. That, honestly, I love that, because William Regal, as we all know, and we love Regal, the storytelling with his facial expressions alone are second to none. They are brilliant. And who can't resist a nervous, confused William Regal? It was brilliant. It was fantastic. So yeah. So I wanted to mention that, because that I loved that segment from No Way Out and that match for what it was. I suppose, the elephant in the room with what you had just said about the bra and panties and the barking like a dog thing. Obviously, Andy, we know full well there would have been a lot of men that would have watched it, that would have been at the live crowd, that probably would have taken great entertainment in that.
Yeah. And it hasn't aged well, has it? I mean, I remember, watching it. How old would I have been at that point? So I was, 81? This is 2001. So I'd been 20 years old. And at that point, you've got a moral compass, haven't you? And you kind of turn around and go, this isn't right. But it's just like anything with professional wrestling. I think we as wrestling fans, and this isn't, I'm not condoning this, by the way, but we as wrestling fans seem to find a way of accepting it because it's professional wrestling. And we then watch it the following week. But we watch it the following week, don't we? Yeah. And we might turn around and go, oh, it shouldn't have happened, it's controversial, but we still watch it the following week. Same with the Katie Vick storyline. I think, however, that really did push the boundaries of sense and sensibility and decency. And I think that, Trish has gone on record and said she wasn't happy with it. I think this is the first of many circumstances and situations. And actually, I think what makes it worse now is knowing what we know now for what's come out in the last 18 months, 2 years. It kind of makes you think, was there more behind it? And we're not going to go into that, but it makes you think, was there more behind it?
I mean, I remember, obviously, there's nothing wrong with looking at a beautiful woman in lingerie, in underwear, and that, we were used to bra and panties matches at that, at that point anyway. But I remember feeling very uncomfortable, because for me, I don't have an issue with any of the women in professional wrestling going down to lingerie, bra, panties, whatever, if it's something they're completely on board with and they're happy with, the direction of it, what the things surrounding it. The portrayal of her being forced to not only strip down and bark like a dog, which is extremely degrading, that I did feel uncomfortable with. But I didn't know that Trish, back then, I didn't know that talent weren't necessarily happy or against doing those things, but they did it because for the sake of their job and their position. Years later, learning that she didn't like it and everything, that now makes me completely not okay with it.
But in fairness, and this is where I think there's this divide between wrestling fans and smart wrestling fans, because why would we know? Why should we know that fans, that talent, weren't happy with the storyline progression? Because, and again, this is going to come across really controversial, and I don't mean it to come across, but hell with it, I'm going to say it anyway. We know wrestling as being a scripted soap opera. That's what professional wrestling is, right?
Yeah.
So there is a level of decency involved. But if you were watching an episode of EastEnders or Coronation Street or Days of Our Lives or As the World Turns, whatever the hell the shows are in the States, and they did a storyline where there was a misogynistic male character who was degrading a female and making them come out and bark like a dog and force the striptease, it's storyline. It's a storyline, right? So we're wrestling fans. As wrestling fans, we're accustomed to knowing that example of it being storyline and soap opera. I'm doing the speech bubbles now, not Stefan. So why should we query it? Because it's a creative direction. And why should we care whether or not the talent are happy with it? Because it's a creative storyline. Are we, and this is where the controversy bit's coming into it, are we biting on this because of what has been released in the last 18 months to 2 years?
Some probably would say yes on that. I mean, some probably yes, some no, because like I said, one would assume that if they were doing this, you would assume that, they would have okayed it, Trish would have okayed it and been like, yeah, no problem. Just like, as you said, if it had been like a soap opera or a movie, the cast, they would accept.
The cast are not going to agree to it. The cast in a soap opera don't agree to the storylines. They get told by the producers and the directors and the writers what the storyline is going to be. So I'm playing. I'm not saying I agree with it, right? But I'm trying to do is play devil's advocate here and go, if the analogy that we all turn around and say that professional wrestling is a soap opera and it's storyline driven and it's a creative, and these guys are actors or actresses, right? Then what does it matter if they don't agree with the storyline? Because at the end of the day, they are being paid to do a story. The difference, I think, and I'll come back to you in just a second. The difference, I think, is the fact that we know how much of a dictatorial, authoritarian environment the World Wrestling Federation was. We know how much of a dictatorial, authoritarian culture that the World Wrestling Federation was. And we also know how much of a masochistic person Vince McMahon was or is, allegedly. And I will use the allegedly in here. So a lot has come out about talent not feeling they could challenge the creative direction, but there is an argument even going. There was a Facebook short earlier on that was released earlier on today by the WWE account from Lana and Lashley's wedding, where Liv Morgan interrupted it and made this whole breakdown about you can't get married because we love each other and we're all this and we're all that. And everybody assumed it was Bobby Lashley, but it wasn't. It was Lana, right? Yeah. Talent might not have been happy about that, but it's a storyline. It's never been mentioned again. Is that degrading to LGBTQ?
Potentially. See, this is the thing, isn't it? Everybody perceives these things differently. For all the amount of people that would turn around and say, yes, it was degrading and it made a mockery of this or that, there will also be others that would turn around and say, well, actually, no, it wasn't. It is what it is. That's the thing. That is society. That is the world we live in.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong opinion. There is no right or wrong answer. At the end of the day, all you can agree on is, yes, it was an uncomfortable watch. It was a degrading moment. And the fact that she wasn't okay but still went ahead with it is, it's a shame in the sense of she, I'm not going to say she was made to do it, but maybe even though she wasn't happy with it, she agreed to do it. So maybe she wasn't forced. So let's be clear. We don't know exactly how the conversation went. All we know is that Trish wasn't happy with it. We don't know that if Trish tried to fight it and say, no, I don't want to do that. No one has ever said, well, if you don't do it, that's your job gone. Like you're out of here. We're not going to use you. So, if that had been the case, where it was do this or get fired, then yes, that would be a massive problem.
From a business perspective and from an HR perspective, absolutely. In the UK.
Yeah.
In America, not so much.
Right? No, maybe not, but I don't know how it works there.
Because in America, there are no employment rights, right? And this is going on a completely different tangent. But in America, there are no employment rights. You could walk into an organization at 9 o'clock in the morning and you could walk out the organization at 9:05 with your stuff packed in the box, and that's it. You're done, right? There are no employment laws to a degree over there. Now, you are right in the fact that we do not know the conversation that took place, and we never will. And there is an argument to say we never should, right? Because we are, regardless of what we do on these shows, whether or not, we consider ourselves to be journalists or whatever, at the end of the day, you, me, Mitch, Dimitri, Joe, Mike, we are wrestling fans, right? So there is an argument here, and there's been an argument for the last 20 years of doing podcasts of where does the line cross? Where do we draw that line back and say, actually, we are wrestling fans and we don't need to know the inner workings of a wrestling organization? You ask Bully Ray, he will turn around and tell you that's where we are, right? From a moralistic perspective, I totally agree with you. Is it degrading to have a woman portray a dog, be forced to strip down and bark? Absolutely. That is the nuts and bolts of it. Absolutely. Yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is, if you were watching it on TV in a soap opera or in a drama series, we wouldn't sit there and analyze it to the point that we're analyzing it, because that's deemed to be entertainment and culture.
Yeah, I agree. What I was just going to say was, I suppose, what was the motive? I think the idea was, especially at that point, because of the whole Linda Vince storyline that was going on and that, I think it was to make Vince look as possibly as despisable as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked. And that is the sort of thing which makes that happen, because I think it was meant to make people feel uncomfortable and think, oh my God, this man is absolutely disgusting. Like, Mr. Man's absolutely vile. And it worked. I think where the line is drawn is subject to, we can all have our own opinions on where it's drawn, but also I think the line is drawn by, however, the talent that is, i.e. in this situation, Trish, where they draw the line. If there's at that point where, let's say, for example, when, it came out that Vince had said about potentially, he'd mentioned about potentially doing like an incestual storyline between him and Steph, and Stephanie was like straight out, no. That, it could be, is a no, drawing line. We know Stephanie's gone through, done a lot of things in her character, in her career for her father, but she drew a line. And this is what I mean. The talent are the ones that can draw a line and say, I'll do anything for this company or for the boss or whatnot, but I am not doing that. And I think that is okay to say, no, there is my that's where I draw my line personally.
Totally agree.
So there's no right or wrong answer.
Didn't he try to sell tickets to pay-per-view? Didn't he offer to do a pay-per-view for the birth of Stephanie's first child or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I heard something about that. I heard something about that.
Anyway, let's. I mean, the other thing that we're forgetting the other person in this. We're talking about Trish and what he made her to do. Look at Linda, right? Mm-hmm. They did a storyline where she was drugged and abused by her husband, both mentally and physically, if you count the drugging and being in a comatose situation. And why do we like professional wrestling?
Honestly, do you know what? I don't think, forget Linda's political stances and alignments and all that rubbish, right? Linda McMahon has had to put up with a lot. She has on numerous occasions had to sit there and watch her husband on screen kissing like younger, gorgeous women for storyline and all this, as she's put up with it, and she's had to go put up with a lot. To an extent, both for Shane and Stephanie as well in their own ways. But yeah, Linda, it was a very strange storyline. Like, why, it was a very strange storyline. Then to do this whole thing where Vince is going to divorce her and all this. I think in the end, the payoff was the payoff at WrestleMania, which we'll get to in a sec. But,
of course
there was always that payoff in the end. And it kind of gives you that bit of satisfaction. Because when you've watched all this humiliation on not only Trish, but you've seen it on Linda, all of that, and you're just thinking, oh my God, Shane just kicked Vince's ass at Mania, please, just someone just beat the hell out of him. And then we get to see what we saw at Mania, and it kind of, you walk away a little bit more satisfied, but yeah, it's a lot.
Talking about the match, moving away from the moralistic view of it, because, we could go for a long time on this now. Looking at the match, it was a very clever finish, seeing, Trish wheel Linda out, because we all expected something to happen. I don't think any of us expected Linda to stand up and give Vince the slap that ended up with Shane winning it. And that was really a very clever finish at WrestleMania, but it was also the switch for Trish, going from this heel manager to this face competitor,
The alternate commentary table, ACT, brought to you by the Celebrate Wrestling podcast feed. Listen, it's Mitch, it's Dimitri. We got this little pod thing that we do every single week where we talk about the week in wrestling and the way in which we do it from the other side of the railing. Right, Mitch?
I like that.
We're coming at it because we love it. We hate it. The alternate commentary table, ACT. Download it anywhere where you're getting your podcasts.
Shasha! All right, we're back with more of Legends. Quick commercial break there. You heard from Mitch and Dimitri from the alternate commentary table. Andy here with Stefan, of course, talking all about the career of the legendary WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. Before the break, we were talking about her rise to prominence as TNA. Not that TNA, people. Testing Albert. We also touched on WrestleMania 17 and, of course, that controversial feud with he's doing the inverted commas, he's doing the speech marks again, with Trish Stratus and Trish Stratus, Vince McMahon. So now we're going to turn our attention on the championship reigns, because Trish, as we said at the beginning of the show, not only came in and made waves right from the word go, she became one of the biggest female champions ever in professional wrestling history. Why did Trish get as good as she did?
Well, I think there's two sides to it, isn't there? First, obviously, it's the fan popularity, regardless of what people's opinions were of women's wrestling, even just prior. If you look at someone like Sable, a lot of wrestlers around about that time, if they weren't really viewed really for their in-ring ability, it was all more about looks. That's what I think the WWF were sort of going for, and the fans, like, we know how popular Sable was. So Trish sort of became that generation's Sable in some ways, but I think because obviously the people she had around her and training her, she was in very good company, and obviously it became clear that she was more than just looks that they had on their hands with Trish. And I just think, right place, right time. She showed her athletic ability. She now I'm doing to you. I can't get my words out now. She showed from being a manager with the physical stuff she did with Lita at ringside, things like that she could work, and she clearly just got better. They thought, well, not being funny, but they didn't really have a great deal of a lot going on in the women's division then. It was kind of the start. Her and Lita, started that new era of women's wrestling, where it still wasn't as it's known for today. But it started that one because you had people like Ivory, Molly Holly, people that could work, but it was very limited. It was a very small, limited pool of talent that they had there. So I think with Trish's ever-growing popularity, the fact that she could, work, plus Lita's popularity and the fact she could work, it brought a new, it was a nice breath of fresh air, and they could actually put them in the rings with the likes of Ivory, Molly Holly, and so on, Jazz, Victoria, etc. And, why not capitalise? It's the same that Vince has done over the years, isn't it? Someone gets, to the cream of the crop of popularity with the fans, and sometimes they put them on a championship picture or a championship run.
So what you're saying then, in that 25-minute diatribe, was Trish Stratus, I've been dying to say this for a while, was more than meets the eye.
Oh.
Da, 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 da,
right. So I'm just going to quickly apologise to Mitch and Dimitri for stealing one of theirs, but Cheshire.
Hey, at least I didn't go down the Thundercats line. But she was more than meets the eye, to kind of summarise all of that down, because you look at her and she's a model coming in. She was part of this model era that they had, but she picked it up like a duck out of water. And she did it. And you referenced there the feud with Lita. I did not zone out, but I had something come through as you were talking, where you mentioned she's the new Sable. It was like, what? Hang on, no. She's better than Sable.
Oh yeah, much better than Sable. What I mean is, I use Sable as that model of where it comes to, fans not knowing a lot about her, whether or not she's got that ability. But in terms of the popularity stuff, she became that new. Like, since Sable, she was the first woman since Sable really to have that sort of level of popularity. Yeah, that's what I do
agree with you in a lot of way that, the matches that they had back in Stratus's first era was a lot of, the bra and panties and the Divas Battle Royals and, the schoolgirl matches. In fact, there's one on Netflix that was I think it was a Cyber Sunday pay-per-view where they all came out dressed as schoolgirls and Jerry Lawler was going mental for it, was great. But when you put them in the ring, when you put someone with the likes of Lisa Moretti, but Victoria, when you put the likes of Lita, Amy DeMaas, even to a degree, someone like Tori Wilson, maybe, but definitely Natalia Neidhart, you're then seeing what these guys can do. What these girls can do in the ring, and it was, I don't think any mistake by the company to put the rocket behind Trish Stratus, because she was, without a shadow of a doubt, the face of that women's division. If you did a comparison now between the WWE of Trish with the WWE of now, where would she sit if she was debuting in the current climate? Because as much as I love Trish, and I'll let you have a moment to kind of think it through. As much as I love Trish, I don't know if Trish could hang full time with the likes of Becky Lynch, with the likes of Io Sky, with the likes of Rhea Ripley, with the likes of Roxanne Perez, with Julia, even some of the released talent from last week, like Dakota Kai and, Kaylani Jackson. I don't know if she would be able to hang full time with those girls. Or could she?
I don't know if full time she would. I love Trish. A lot of respect for her, and she's always been one of my favourites. And I kind of put her just that little bit behind the likes of Io Sky, Natalia. I just think she's just a bit off that. As a part time, what she's been doing over the last few years, absolutely stick on a Rumble, give her a little small run here and there to mix it up. Same thing with like the likes of Michelle McCool. But this is the thing. It's one of the things that really stressed me out. It's like with Natalia. Natalia is hands down one of the absolute best there is in the ring for the women that WWE have had, but they don't capitalise on Natalia that much. Natalia is almost used a lot of the time as enhancement. She kind of works with a lot of the younger ones in NXT, sort of like I'm not being funny. If you want to train, all the upcoming female talent that are coming up through the ranks, and that you don't find much better than Natalia. You don't. But I think because of the way the WWE is, and there's so much more to being a WWE superstar than just having in-ring talent. I see Trish. It's a shame in some ways that Trish isn't a coach in some ways, because I think there are elements that Trish brings, like the charisma, the sass, the fact that she has athletic ability and she knows how to work the crowd, she's been in, as we talked about with WrestleMania 17 and the whole stuff with Vince and that, she knows how to work through those difficult positions, which some up-and-coming talent may have, if Vince was still running things, may have had to have potentially found themselves in eventually. So for me, Trish is just a little bit behind the likes of Io Sky and Natalia and a lot of the Rhea Ripley. I mean, Rhea Ripley, to an extent, almost on her own level in some ways, because there aren't many talent like Rhea Ripley. That's why she stands out. So yeah, I think she's just a little bit below that, but she's not on the way down like the likes of Stacey Keibler or anyone like that. And I love Stacey, but in terms of as a worker, in terms of wrestling, Stacey wasn't really up there. So she's I'd put her just behind a crop of the current talent era.
Okay, so let's look at something then. So we understand, and it's been heavily reported, that in July, Evolution 2 is taking place. Now, Evolution, of course, was the women's only pay-per-view. It took place about, I think it was 3-4 years ago. Trish made her one return there. She's then made another return, had a feud with Becky Lynch. I think it's fair to say that Trish is going to be at Evolution in some capacity. But where do you go with her now? Do you put her with the likes of Tiffy Time and Tiffany Stratton? She's already got the win off the one veteran in terms of Charlotte Flair. Do you put her with the likes of Laya Valkyrie, who we know this weekend is going up against Becky Lynch at Backlash? Do you put her up against one of the NXT performers like Julia or Roxanne Perez? Or do you put her up against someone like Rhea Ripley or Alexa Bliss or Natty Neidhart or the returning Nikki Bella? What do you do with Trish if she comes back for one more run leading up to Evolution?
Oh, do you know what, Andy? That is a tough one, because I mean, I don't know if I would potentially put her in a singles match. I would maybe a tag match where she doesn't have to work the entire match herself, because as we see her in the last match she had, I'm trying to remember who that was against. She had that match recently. She looked a little bit off place for me. Maybe a little bit of ring rust there. But for me, see, I wouldn't be overly bothered if Trish doesn't compete again, because she's been there, done it. She's earned her flowers. She's got all that respect. She's a legit Hall of Famer. But if she was, I would put her in a tag match or a multi-woman's tag match, like a six-woman tag match or something like that. But I would, do you know what I would like to see? They were saying they did it one of the WrestleMania. It might have been WrestleMania 23. Do you remember when they did the ECW Originals versus the ECW New Blood? Yeah. That multi-man tag match. So that sort of conception where maybe we could have a team of, WWE Hall of Famers like Lita, Trish, Michelle McCool, maybe stick Layla in there, because I know Michelle McCall teased at Hall of Fame. She said to Layla, she said that one more run go or something like that. Like, you know, maybe have those 4 and then put them against 4 of NXT's best of up and comers, and have something like that. That would interest me. You know,
or you could bring back. Are you ready for this?
Oh, here we go.
Are you ready for this? You could bring back from Unforgiven in the past. 2 words. Are you ready?
Go on.
Championship Scramble.
Oh, no. No. I'm not a fan of Championship Scramble. I'm not.
I love the Championship Scramble.
No, I don't know.
It's like the best concept ever.
It's good, but for me, I want to see it like executed really, really well. For me, it's just not hit the right notes for me so far. I'm not saying it never would. I know, but that's what I mean. It's just not, you know, and maybe that's why it's only ever been done once. Going
back to who you would put her up against, because you know, I kind of tend to agree with you about the mixed tag, about a tag team match or some sort of multi-person match. The one we were meant to be getting at Evolution was Alexa Bliss against Trish. Now, Alexa got injured. Now, Alexa obviously don't know what's going on with Alexa Bliss. She's disappeared from the company. So would you go down that route? Would you put Alexa Bliss versus Trish in the main event of Evolution?
No, I don't think it garners enough interest. If I'm honest, I don't think it garners enough interest. I mean, you know, Alexa's already a multi-time women's champion. I for me, it'd have to be one of the younger, newer ones coming through. I mean, I maybe someone like Roxanne Perez, or you know, someone like that. I don't know about Alexa, Julia, or Stephanie. I don't think they need a match with Trish. I don't see how that really benefits them, apart from, you know, saying that they can cross off their bucket list. But I don't know. Do you know what? I mean, I think this is actually a good way we could get the listeners involved. Maybe we'll put up a poll in the Facebook group and actually put this to the listeners, okay, and actually see who they would vote. We'll put a list of names down, and we'll see who gets the most interest. And that, because I can't call it, I just can't really place her really with anyone that really comes to mind that I just think would be like, I really, really want to see that match. That'd be really, really good. I just think Trish has done it all. She's been there. She's done it all. You know, I don't know.
So as we begin to wind this up, because there's one thing I want to talk to you about, which is separate to Trish Stratus, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. We've spoken about the career of Trish. I think we could do a couple of shows on this, and we will be doing more shows on Trish Stratus, picking up some of her main title defenses, a bit like we did with Triple H, and a bit like we're going to be doing with Die Rocky Die. But as we wrap up this first part of Trish Stratus, and I have her career in my hands, how would you...
Are you sure that's all you've got in your hands?
Family show. How would you describe her in one word? How do you describe the career and the legacy of Trish Stratus in one word?
Trailblazing.
Okay. Mine, GOAT. Technically, it's one word, but there's 4 words that make it up.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Grace of all time.
I don't
know.
Well, I think she is. Popularity wise,
yeah, probably.
Well,
most likely. But
so what we're going to do is we're going to, as Stephanie said, we're going to put a poll up on the Facebook group at Celebrate Wrestling. If you're not part of it, go find it, go search for it, click it. Mike answer a couple of questions, and Mike will let you in. You can then be part of the conversation. We will put up a post with a poll asking you to choose who you think Trish should face at Evolution. We'll put a random set of names up and then other category that you can populate in the comments. And we will let you know in a couple of weeks' time what the results of that poll was. Now, Stefan, moving on. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Backlash is on pay-per-view this Saturday. Backlash at St. Louis, Missouri. Monday Night Raw took place just a couple of nights ago. We have some matches already set. I want to very quickly get your opinion on what you think is going to happen at Backlash. this week. Of course, SmackDown still to occur. We don't know yet if there's going to be any matches changed from SmackDown. But currently, 5 matches on the card. We're going to work our way through them. And I just want to know what you think is going to happen at Backlash. So kicking off with the Intercontinental Championship match for the men. It is a singles. It's Dominic Mysterio. By the way, I love that new shirt. He's got Latino cheek.
Yeah. It's nice.
So cool.
Do you know what? I no disrespect to Rey Mysterio, but there's that little part of me that just kind of wishes that Dom really was Eddie's son, because the similarities are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, but just imagine if Eddie was still alive, right?
Yeah.
He could have had major revisit of that feud.
Yeah.
2005 would
probably manage him.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what 2K25 is for. Dominic Mysterio facing off against Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. This is the big test for me for Dominic Mysterio, because I don't know what it is about this kid, but you can't help but love him. He is changed so much from being the Rey Mysterio shadow and coming in as the tag team with the dad, and this whole feud with the Judgment, this whole run with the Judgment Day. Personally, I think he's outgrown the Judgment Day now.
Our Judgment Day's outgrown, full stop.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But I'm intrigued to see this one because it's a 50-50 split. It could go either way. Some ways it's too quick to take it off Mysterio, but in other ways, Penta is on fire, and Michael Cole makes so many references about him being a world champion at some point. Who are you going to go with, Penta or Dominic?
See, this, funny enough that you mentioned this one first, because this is actually one of the matches I'm most invested in, because it's going to be Dom's first proper title defense on pay-per-view, or premium line event, as they call it now. Dom's not dropping that title. I don't see it. I don't see it at all for me. But what I want to see Dom do in terms to really see him take that next step now he's actually captured his first main roster singles title is I want to see him win matches himself without involvement, there being any involvement at all from outside influences, but that's not going to happen. So he'll retain. I really, really am getting frustrated that they're dragging out this Finn Balor face turn. They really seem to be dragging this out now. And I want them to get it over and done with. It's clear as day what's going on. So, yeah, for me, Dom takes it. I don't know how, but there'll probably be outside interference as per usual.
Well, it'll be an interesting one. So you're going with Dom. I am going to go with Penta via DQ.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So Dom still retains the Intercontinental Championship. They're not going to take it off him that quick. Not after the triple threat in Mania.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, actually, yeah. You put it that way. Yeah. I think that's most likely to happen. Yeah.
Fatal 4-way match for the WWE United States Championship. Jacob Fatu defending against LA Knight. Yeah. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. You know what? I've got no interest in this.
No, it's become over, as Vince would probably call it, over meaty, hasn't it? It's just all these big guys in there, and it's just sort of been randomly thrown together. I mean, obviously Jacob and LA Knight makes sense because it could be LA Knight's official rematch since WrestleMania. But to throw Priest and McIntyre in, why they're not off doing their own thing, the two of them, I don't know. Why they haven't put them in a WrestleMania rematch with a stipulation there or something, I don't know. But yeah, I haven't got much interest in it. Again, I don't think the title's being dropped. Jacob's not dropping that title. Again, it's being dragged out. The whole Solo turning on Jacob and Jacob becoming a face. I think that's again's being dragged out a little bit too long now. But yeah, I think Jacob. Well, do you know what? I'm actually thinking about this now, because Solo could cost Jacob the match and the title.
They're not going to do that. They're not.
Yeah, but yeah.
He had one of the most dominating wins at WrestleMania against LA Knight for that US Championship. And the face reaction he got at Mania was huge.
Yeah.
Right? They're not. I think this is this is one of those pay-per-views where, you know, it's kind of a run-of-the-mill. There might be maybe one shock, but I don't think there's going to be many things happening. It's the traditional WrestleMania hangover one, right? I agree. I think you will get the split, but I think Fatu will retain it.
Fatu was retaining the title hands down. Absolutely.
I think Sikoa will interfere in the match, and that will set up the feud. Yeah. But Jacob Fatu will.
Will definitely. Yeah, we're in agreement with that.
Right, next up, Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Now, I have skipped over one because I want to get your opinion on it. Lyra Valkyria defending against the man Becky Lynch, who is back in business.
I've got a bad feeling Becky's taking it. I just think it might put a little bit of a dampener down on Becky's return, considering it was only months ago that they said that she was probably retiring. And obviously she made that comeback. So, I think Becky's taking it, unfortunately. Because I've actually started to like Lyra. Michael Cole mentioned it on SmackDown about this new attitude and that of Lyra Valkyria. She's sort of come out into her own now. And I like that. I've actually now become a little bit more invested in Lyra Valkyria now that she's doing that. But unfortunately, I think Becky's taking it.
So I can see Becky taking it. I agree with you. And I think this really badly rumored joining of the stable with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins is going to happen.
Yeah, same.
At Backlash, St. Louis. Next up, Pat McAfee facing off against Gunther for the... I don't know why, really. I mean, this is going to be a massacre.
They should have done it Michael Cole on a pole match.
Oh, I really think they missed a trick, though, by not bringing the coal mine back out.
I know, right? Who's to say that they're not going to do something? Do you know what? Normally...
but they could have had the whole announce desk as the cafe mine.
Oh,
or the Mick Cafe. The Mick Cafe.
The Mick Cafe. Oh, God. Do you know what? I'm actually looking forward to this match because Pat McAfee can work. When we go back to seeing how good he was in it when he did these things like War Games in NXT, the stuff with Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era, and all that. And even his match with Austin Theory at WrestleMania 38 was until Vince buried him after, he can work. And that's why I'm looking forward to this, because Pat McAfee has earned my respect because, as I said, anyone who's an outsider, same thing with Logan Paul, I might not necessarily like the guy, but if you come, and Bad Bunny, for example, if you come in, pay your dues and you put in that work rate and you treat the business with respect and you're taking it seriously, then I've got no problem with you being in there to an extent. And Pat's definitely done that. And I'm looking forward to this. However, unfortunately, I think Gunther wins, but Pat McAfee's going to really, really surprise Gunther with how good he can be.
I think Gunther needs to win it. They need to rebuild him. That was a really bad, loss at Mania 41. The way they did it, with the tap out. But I have this feeling that the GOAT is going to get involved.
It reminds me a bit of, do you remember sort of SummerSlam and Unforgiven of the year 2000 when Taz was heel and he had this big issue with JR and then Jerry the King Lawler sort of protected him? Yeah. It's reminding me that. Do you remember when JR smashed him over the head with the jar of sweets and cut his hand, got glass in his hand?
It wouldn't surprise me.
That could happen, but I think Gunther wins, but I think Pat McAfee's going to walk out with a lot of respect and a lot of plaudits after that match.
Do you know what? I'm going to go back one match to Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. I'm going to change my thought here. Now, I've just suddenly been thinking about it as you've been talking. Lyra Valkyria to retain, thanks to Bayley returning.
Oh, yeah. Actually, do you know what? Oh, you're getting in my head now. Yeah, I'm in agreement. Yeah, I'm in agreement. Yeah, because Bayley's, it was only a little attack that just kept her out of that match, wasn't it? So it wasn't like putting her on a shelf for longevity kind of attack, was it? So I could see that. Or
Is it a swerve all along?
Ooh.
Is Bayley actually in cahoots with Becky? And does she cost Lyra?
Do you know what? I don't know. I mean, I'll be a little bit frustrated because Bayley. I'm starting to get frustrated with Bayley's getting the Big Show Paul Wright treatment, where it's
of course she is.
To me, Becky is even to an extent as well. So for me, not yet. I think we leave it as Becky wins it because I think we're more in line to agree that she's going to be joining the Rollins Heyman Breaker group.
Which, yeah. Main event: John Cena defends against Randy Orton for the undisputed WWE Championship. I mean, this isn't going anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love Jey Uso, but for me, I'm not interested in the opponent, really. I'm not really interested in the match, to be fair. I think Jey retains, absolutely.
I mean, Jay's not on the card.
Oh, Jay's not on the card, is he?
Cena versus Orton is what I was.
Sorry. So I thought you were talking because we've been talking about Raw, aren't we? Really? So,
but going to Jay, he doesn't have a match on the card, so they're not putting the world title on the line against Logan Paul. But there's nothing to say we couldn't get something set up on Friday.
That is true. That is true. But Cena Orton, I want to see Orton with the title again. I want to see him with at least another run, but it's not happening yet. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see something, if Cody will make an appearance maybe after the match or something. If it's just straight up Cena versus Orton and Cena just goes over and that's it, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. You know, there's still part of me that thinks we might still get something more from Travis Scott or maybe even The Rock. But yeah, maybe someone else getting involved. I don't know. But either way, Cena's retaining. We know that much.
I think it's fair to say we've also got two other potential matches that could be on the card this week at Backlash. And these are just kind of going off the top of my head. The first one, Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker following Monday Night Raw. That might be a good way to get him on. And I think Tiffy time will be in action. I think we're going to get Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax and Naomi in a triple threat at Backlash. And if that happened, I would put the money on Naomi, in all fairness. I think she's come a long way.
I do. I still think that that loss to Jade hurts her momentum a little bit, because I would have had her go over Jade, not necessarily clean, but I would have put her over Jade to give her some legitimacy with this new persona. Because I as you said, I like it, and you do too. So I'm here for it. But I think Tiffy retains again, although I still don't think she's far off of losing the title. But I think after coming off that huge win against Charlotte at WrestleMania, I think to take it off straight away from there, for me, is too soon. So I'm going to go Tiffy to retain if the match happens. Cena's going to retain against Orton. And the other match, if we get it, well, as you said, Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker's going over, you know, that group's not going to suffer a loss that quick.
Do we see Punk and Reigns at Backlash?
Probably. I'd at least say we'd see Punk.
Because they've been incommunicado since WrestleMania, apart from this past Monday night.
Well, yeah, Punk's not, but Reigns is different than it's.
All right, that is it for this week. That is Legends talking all about the legacy of Trish Stratus and the preview of WWE Backlash 2025 from St. Louis. Next week on this very show, Stefan, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? What are we talking about, Andy? Because I put a few things to you, and what was it we've decided on?
I've forgotten. That's why I was hoping you.
I'm just messing with you. No, we are going to be talking about the greatest managers in history.
Are we?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes.
I thought we were doing the title reigns that didn't mean anything.
See,
the greatest managers is fine.
See, this is what is it, right? See, I knew this was going to happen. See, I do a segue and say that, and then Andy all of a sudden remembers what apparently we were meant to do. It's like a little a jolt to the brain, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, a little bit.
That was,
I actually think the greatest managers.
No, we are. Yes, next week. No, guys, next week we are actually talking about the most controversial, underwhelming, and strange title reigns.
No, not now.
Which will be the week after, because Andy's now.
Andy's now calling an audible. We are going to do the greatest managers because that is much better. The following week after that, I'm calling it again because we are going to look at one of the worst wrestling pay-per-views ever called Heroes in Wrestling.
I can't wait for this.
I know, I can't wait, and I want to get Mike involved in it as well. We're going to be talking about Heroes in Wrestling in 2 weeks' time. Next week, we're going to be talking about the greatest managers. This week, though, was Trish Stratus and Backlash. Thank you for joining us. It's been a weird one because what we haven't told you is we've recorded this in 2 parts because it completely broke when we were recording the first part at the hotel, which is why we went to a break, and now we're back. Hopefully, seamless. But if there is any audio differences, that's why. And I've also, ladies and gentlemen, got rid of the backtrack due to various people telling me they didn't like it. So I've got rid of it. It's not there. Gone. Zen. Gone. Just like we're going to be gone right now.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. And until then, I think we all need to take a deep breath. So to quote one of the worst WWE champions of all time, Shanti. See you next week.
Yeah, bye.
This has been Legends and Champions with Andy Evans. Thank you for listening.